The Nissan GT-R, it is almighty, and it comes as no surprise that it is one of the top contenders we have in our lineup. But something tells me that even if it doesn't walk away top of the bunch, it's not going to lose any fans. The big Nissan looks especially menacing when on the move. There's a cruise missile intensity to the way it blasts off and gathers speed, with the sound of the turbochargers underpinning the engine note. This is a car that expresses the concepts of velocity and performance in utterly undiluted terms, even when standing still. The angular styling looks tightly stretched over the car's frame, with the bulging bonnet barely containing the muscle of the turbocharged engine underneath. Diagonal slashes in the front fenders provide an escape for hot air from the engine bay, while the wheel arches only just manage to frame the big alloy wheels. That large rear wing isn't a cosmetic piece, it provides real and necessary downforce. Gutter-sized exhaust pipes provide an awesome soundtrack. Launching the GT-R requires some clever footwork, but the rapid-fire shifts of the dual-clutch gearbox and the seemingly infinite delivery of power makes for hugely impressive acceleration that thrusts you back in your seat, while the car devours the tar ahead. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or accurate testing equipment to realize that the GT-R is a very quick car, and it brakes with equal power, shedding speed quicker than Maradona losing his temper. The cabin is a temple dedicated to the religion of speed. It's all very dark and serious, with red instrument needles and brushed alloy the only relief from the pervading charcoals and blacks. The high-tech display is pure PlayStation, except the GT-R is for real.
By comparison, the Audi TT RS looks tame and diminutive, which isn't fair. In fact, compared to the normal smooth-shaped TT, this RS version has a lot more attitude. The fixed rear wing is the most obvious clue to this TT's special status, but the big wheels and the massive oval exhausts also give the game away. If you're an Audi fan, the RS designation should get the adrenaline pumping preemptively. After all, it's a badge reserved for only the most extreme examples from Ingolstadt.
The Audi TT has been accused of being a bit of a hairdresser's car, but I have to say there are exceptions, and this is one of those. A 5-cylinder engine, which of course is historic in Audi's terms because all those fantastic Audi Quattro rally cars used to have 5-cylinder engines, turbocharged, 4-wheel drive, a great power-to-weight ratio. Don't underestimate this one.
Just listen to that sound. It's quite unlike anything else here, and it accompanies a dynamic performance that confirms its full-blown sports car status. There's nothing tame about this beast. It takes off like a scalded cat, with the turbo power catapulting it towards the horizon. Even the mighty R8 has to keep looking over its shoulder when the TT-RS is around. The cabin is everything you'd expect from Audi, with a dash of RS-style exclusivity thrown in for good measure. We really like the Alcantara-covered bucket seats and the flat-bottomed steering wheel, the rubber-embellished alloy pedals, and the way the interior seems to wrap around you when you're hurrying along. The quality of execution is peerless, and the appointments luxurious enough for comfortable long-distance cruising. The presence of a real gung-ho manual gearbox, complete with chunky shift action and beefy clutch, confirms that the TT RS is not a posemobile, but the real sports car deal, and the results prove that it's a worthy stablemate to the much more powerful R8 V10.
The Clio Renault Sport is the least powerful car in our lineup with just 148 kilowatts, but it has a few things in its favor. For one, its torque peak comes in at 5,400 RPM, which means it's got a lot of top-end power. As well as that, it's got a good set of Brembo brakes, and in a car this small, that could mean that this car is a giant killer. But even in power-to-weight ratio terms, the Clio is the meekest of the wild bunch here, and while its performance figures are well above the subcompact norm, a test like this doesn't recognize its handling talents, which are such a key part of its overall appeal. Still, it showed a healthy turn of speed, and as we predicted, those Brembo calipers and big discs saw it finish high up the braking order. Besides, the rev-hungry engine enjoys being thrashed, and it never stopped putting a grin on our faces. The Clio Renault Sport mixes the standard car's cute hatchback looks with some striking extras. The black insert under the grille adds a bit of aggression, as do the spoked alloy wheels. A subtle body kit provides extended sills, a deeper front air dam and a rear diffuser, flanked by dual chrome exhaust tailpipes. The overall effect is racy, and the dynamics prove it. The sporty styling is echoed by an interior that transforms the standard cockpit into a much more tailored, engaging place. The excellent seats combine comfort and support, and the yellow rev counter is a Renault Sport hallmark, as are the alloy pedals.
When Colin Chapman founded Lotus, the core philosophy behind his cars was one of low weight, excellent handling, which also meant not that much power. Nothing much has changed in all those 40 or 50 years, and the Lotus Exige S is exactly that. A low-weight car, very low-slung, actually quite compact, a fair amount of power, although not nearly as much as something like an R8 or a GTR, but the performance and in fact the experience of driving this car is unlike anything else.
The unique character of the Exige S is best expressed by the snap, crackle and pop of the supercharged engine. No other car provides quite the same in-your-face, super concentrated, visceral driving experience, and nothing else here feels as fluid, as wieldy, as directly connected to your senses. The cabin reflects the Exige's driver-focused approach. It's Spartan by even budget car standards, but the mix of bare aluminium and Alcantara expresses a minimalist but highly effective design. The tiny cockpit barely offers space for two, but the Probax racing seats are comfortable and the driving position is great. The Lotus is fitted with Yokohama Advan semi-slicks, and we struggle to get enough temperature into the tyres, which ultimately compromised its traction under both acceleration and braking. That aside, the Exige S made the most of its low mass and excellent effective power-to-weight ratio to record some giant-killing acceleration times. It even eclipsed the mighty M3 from 0 to 100, but the car's braking talents weren't in the same league. In eye candy terms, the Lotus is a sweet package, but with a distinctly hot aftertaste. The Bafana style colour scheme suits its extrovert nature, and the svelte compact lines are countered by the wide black wheels and the big rear wing. Most of all, this is a car that proudly wears the Lotus racing car heritage on its sleeve. So, after 3 days and many hours of testing, which of our 8 contenders fared the best?
In sheer acceleration terms, nothing could touch the Nissan GTR, outclassing both Audis with the M3 and the Lotus 4th and 5th.
The GTR also eclipsed everything else on the braking front, followed by the BMW and, surprise surprise, the 370Z Roadster, with the 2 Audis up next.
No surprises then as far as the overall winner of this year's performance feature is concerned. The R8 is runner-up, while the M3's superior braking earns it 3rd place.
If you want to look at all those stats in more detail, you'll find the full report on our website at www.rpmtv.co.za. It makes for fascinating reading.